shout out to Brad Hopkins who just dropped in. There we go. There we go. Man, damn, you look good. I didn't mean to, jump like that.
Fellas.
It's just,
y'all got me in the big chair.
There you go. Get comfortable.
Brad, we got to delay a game waiting on you, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was doing San Antonio.
Yeah.
Hey, them good old boys over there.
Remembering the Love You Blue days, bro. That's what we were doing over there. Reminiscing.
Well, the people here, because they don't.
Oh, my man got an Oiler Derrick on his arm.
He do.
Give me something right there, man.
There you go. Please, Scott, in a minute. And
Yes,
as
sir.
Brad Hopkins joins us, you're in the exclusive furniture hot seat, baby.
Well, I see.
And hot seat, lean back in that thing.
Exclusive.
They'd like to use an Oilers portion of your career as outside of that other place that you moved to. Is
that what we're doing? Is that it?
Oh.
Now listen, I have no dog in that fight because I have just as much love for the city of Houston as I do for the city of Nashville.
It's a good start.
If you've actually broke bread and lived in that city, you understand the complete unique environment and how lovely it is. Both my sons were born in Houston. My grandson was born in Houston. My daughter-in-law grew up a Texans fan. She doesn't know anything about the Houston Oilers Love Your Blue era, right? Because she wasn't even born when we left. So just to remember those days of whipping on Westheimer, that's what it was about. You know what I mean? Living off Southwest Freeway. I don't care what they call it now. Was it 69? Or whatever you know, so I have a healthy amount of respect for, the transition that the city of Houston had to make to basically, forget about the pre-existing Houston Oilers era and usher in a new era of Houston Texans. They've done a good job of that.
What was that like? What was that in that time as you're being right in the middle of it? Because it is, honestly, we got a couple of hosts here. John Lopez, who's been here for a long time. It is still deep ingrained into him. And I know I'm sure you remember John McClain, who there's
man.
that smile that he brings that hits me. What was it like being in the middle of that transition, that move from Houston and then going up to Nashville?
So I realized early that the city had with Bud Adams. Okay, and those that are listening that went back and that far, they know what I'm talking about. There have been a number of times where Bud had threatened to move the team because he wanted to remain competitive in the market that was now starting to exist and getting free agents to come to Houston. Okay, the Astrodome wasn't it, man. Nobody wanted to play in that thing.
It's still there.
Exactly, and it probably looks the exact same as when we first left it. You know what I mean? I remember the last game that we played in the Houston Astrodome when we set an attendance record low for 24,000 people, probably less than that. They were actually in the dome, right? And the dome seats like 70,000 people or whatever it was. It was like a ghost town. And you knew at that moment that, hey, it was bad. But I remember us playing the Washington Redskins, and yes, I said the Redskins because they weren't the Commanders then. And we were playing them in a preseason game in Knoxville. And then somebody said, hey, you might want to start looking for property up here in Tennessee because that's where we're moving. And I thought it was just barking, the same kind of fluff that we had heard before. But then it wasn't even 6 months later that they were talking about Mayor Phil Bredesen and Bud Adams coming to an agreement for us to move. And it's different when you're a free agent and you move from one city to another, whatever else. But then to have the whole support cast, your trainers, the entire staff goes with you. And we left Houston before we had anything built.
Yeah.
So we were literally in trailers, bruh.
Wow.
Practicing. We were in the back of a mall when it comes to, like, our playing field and trying to make an adjustment. At that time, I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me, right? This is the NFL? But that's what it was. That was a transition for us. Now, we played our second game in Vanderbilt Stadium. Our second season, rather, in Tennessee in Vanderbilt Stadium. And that still wasn't the best environment. It was terrible. You know what I mean? But then they opened up this brand-new stadium called Adelphia Coliseum. And we had never experienced that kind of support because think about the way we left Houston. Now we're in a new state that has never even experienced pro sports. And they came out in droves to see us. And then as we put together the kind of magical season that takes you to a Super Bowl in the first year we played in that stadium, we cemented history right there, man. And we come a yard short from giving them their first Super Bowl in that short period of time.
Damn, Mike Jones.
Yeah. Damn, Mike Jones is right. But people don't talk about, just what we're doing, what we could have done. Now, going back to the Houston days, the whole Buffalo Bills debacle, okay, that was the year we should have won a championship. The next year when we rattled off 11 straight after starting 1-4, we got to the divisional round against Joe Montana's Chiefs. That's the year we should have won the Super Bowl. We should have won the Super Bowl in 1999, the year 2000. That we went to the Super Bowl, right? And then there were 2 more AFC championship games that we could have won and then gone to the Super Bowl, which we kind of fell short. So we could be talking about that weird ball bouncing in a different direction. We could be talking about a franchise that has had 5 championships almost. Steven, unequivocally, Eddie George would have been a Hall of Famer had that happened, unequivocally. So you're talking about just an era of football, an era between these 2 franchises, the Houston Oilers and the Tennessee Titans, that produced great players and great seasons to boot. So you asked me what it was like? It was absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
It was a crazy time to be playing for a franchise that moved from Texas to Tennessee.
Crazy. Tell us a little bit about Low T Center. I know, I know my man Clint here has got a lot of experience with Low T Center and how it helps. What's your experience?
My man's jacked over here, by the way. You know what I'm saying? No, but listen.
What's going on here?
Well, first off, it's really under the premise of what? No. Men's health, wellness, something that we're just not used to being vulnerable about. You know what I mean? It's okay to admit you need help in something. When you're walking around and your head's foggy, or you're feeling lethargic, or you're just moody, and people around you got a short temper because you're just agitated for no reason, you're tired. There may be something to that. Go get tested. That's all we ask you to do. Go get tested. Figure out where your levels are. Get a baseline description of how you can actually better yourself. Get on a TRT, some of that therapy when it comes to testosterone that would allow you to address those issues. And you might be amazed at how much better you feel. It'll affect your performance on the field and off the field.
There you go.
If you know what I'm saying.
Hey, Brad, what I always tell folks, man, is like, it just real talk. Like, if you're a grown-ass man, you should know your testosterone. It's win, right? It's not. It's going to hit us all at some point in time. Some in the late 30s, some in the mid 40s. Some in the lucky ones get to 50, and maybe it's not a problem. But at some point in time, it's going to be a problem, and it impacts so many parts of your life, whether it's the work life or your health, your marriage, your ability to be a father or grandfather, and to just sit around and just not even take this step. 20 minutes. To know your number is crazy to think that there's the percentage of men out there that do that.
Yeah, and you should start sooner than we're actually talking on average, right? Say you should have your prostate checked by the time you're 50. No, it's earlier than that, especially if you're an African-American, man. Because we're dealing with a lot of issues that, genetically have happened to us sooner than other situations, right? But it's okay to go see the doctor when there's nothing wrong, to make sure there's nothing wrong. Because it's that kind of screening that allows you to take advantage of the therapies and procedures that are out there available to you if you catch things soon enough. If you realize your levels are so low that you need a boost, then you obviously are aware of that. Same thing can be said about cancer screening. The worst thing to hear is that you caught it in stage 4 when you could have caught it in stage 1. You know what I mean? So those are just some things that we need to really take full advantage of. I know that there's even talking medicine and crazy and big pharma and all this stuff is crazy nowadays, and there are a lot of holistic remedies that don't involve taking medicines. Study some of those, but then again, don't wait till you're sick to do it.
Appreciate you jumping on with us, Brad. If you need a little head back in that thing,
man.
there you go. Exclusive furniture right there. That's what the hot seat is for.